Hello friends, welcome back to our little coffee club. Today I'm going to answer some questions that I received from one of our little members here. Her name is Cynthia, and her husband want to start brewing coffee at home. They want to get started with the whole espresso experience, let's say. And they wanted some guidance. They asked me several questions that I thought it would be better to just do a video response. It's quite a few things that some of them are easy to answer, and some they're not that simple. Okay, so I thought this is a bit much to get to below in the comments. So maybe I just it's general information that is good to know for a lot of people that are getting started. So this is a good video to make. So I thought let's just let's just talk about it. So in a second, what I'm gonna do is try to go through the questions and answer the easy ones right away. The easy ones. They're very simple, we'll get to them, but then there's some things that are not that easy to answer. So we'll get to everything here in a minute, but let's get started with some of the simple stuff. All right, so let me start by saying that this is gonna be a Friday video. You guys know that the Friday videos are not in the same chronological order like all my other videos. The Sunday videos, they go up in the order that I record them. And right now I have quite a few of those videos either ready or kind of getting ready and recorded. So I didn't want Cynthia to have to wait so long to receive these answers. So I figure I'll put this together as a Friday video. So let's answer some questions, the easy questions first. So Cynthia asked about how do I fill the water tank? Well, when the little lid, you just pop it off like this. And when I did my video on how to back flush the Bianca, okay, how to do the back flush and how to replace the filter in the water reservoir, I covered how it is that I fill it. But, my videos are quite lengthy. I know people don't have, they don't have that much time to spend an hour watching videos. So, I understand not seeing that. So, but basically, when I first set it up here, I thought the same thing. How am I going to fill this up? Because there's not a lot of clearance. It turns out there's only about 4 inches here. We'll measure it in a second, but it should be 4 inches of clearance. So I thought how am I going to fill it? The water tank's way in the back over there. And it turned out to be a non-issue because I have a little water bottle like this. The water in the bottle is not this, okay? It's not that. It's my own water that I filter for this machine. And I cover all of that on that video where I'm talking about the back flush, okay, and the filter replacement. So that is a must-see video for someone that wants this machine, or basically any espresso machine, because the things that I covered on that video in regards to water are important to any espresso machine. Okay, first of all, don't use distilled water in your espresso machine, and don't use tap water. Okay, you want to avoid water with a lot of calcium because it will build scale in the machine and it'll cause problems. So the water that you're going to use is very important, not only to get the best flavor, and that's what we're after here. We're after trying to get the best flavor out of our coffee. So that's one very important aspect, but also you want to take care of your investment and you want to use water that's not going to mess up your espresso machine. So I cover all the water issues on that video, so please check that out and you'll see. But basically to fill it is a non-issue. Like I said, it's not a big deal. You just need a small bottle and that has a wide mouth, because then you just reach back here and you pour it in, and it's no big deal. It's easy, quick. Usually I'll put 3 or 4 bottles in, and that's enough to get me by for a couple weeks. Anyway, eventually you're gonna have to take the water tank out and clean it. You do have to do some regular cleanings. I show on that same video where I'm talking about the replacement of the filter and the back flush, I show how it is that I easily move the machine on top of the counter without having to lift it or drag it or something like that. I show it on there. But yeah, filling the tank is not a big deal. Just use a little bottle and that's all you got to do. Okay, so as far as how do I fill the water tank, that's exactly how I do it. Not a big deal. Now, something that you didn't ask, but it is important to cover and other people have asked, is the following. The distance that we have in clearance here between the machine and the bottom of the cabinets. So let's take a look. Okay, so there you see it, 4 inches. We have 4 inches of clearance. So make sure you have at least that and you're not gonna have any trouble. Okay, the distance between my countertop and the cabinets, let's see, can you guys see that? Okay, another question that has been asked is the distance between my countertop and the top of my cabinets. And as you guys could see there, is 19 inches. Okay, so we got 19 inches from the countertop to the bottom of the cabinets. And there's 4 inches of clearance between the top of the machine and the cabinets. People also have wanted to know the depth of the countertop. Let's see, let's take a look. What do we have there? About roughly 25 inches, right? 25 inches. I imagine it'll be the same going the other direction, but let's check. And yeah, roughly 25 inches, just maybe 24 and a half, something like that. Okay, so that's the depth of my countertop. Okay, so the machine itself, the depth of the machine itself. Okay, the water tank, which, by the way, let me talk about this because this is kind of important. The water tank, you don't need to have it in the back here, okay? The water tank on the Bianca, you can put it on the side. So you can put it on this side or this side, it's up to you. When you order it from factory, it comes in the back like this. And for me, that's the way I wanted it because it looks more symmetrical. Plus, I was gonna put it in the corner, which gives you a little bit more depth, right? In the corner, it's way deeper. I mean, if I measure the countertop in the corner, let's see. Well, I'm gonna tell you from up here, roughly. There's roughly 3 feet. So that's a lot of depth that I have to work with there. Notice that the plug and everything is in the back, at least in, maybe in your kitchen it'll be different, but I had to deal with that, right? I can't press it too far back because then the water tank starts to hit the plugs and things get complicated. So that's how much room I have to work with, but it's still plenty of room here in the front, right? And plenty of room to work with. So, but yeah, that's my situation. All right, so let's give you all the measurements on the Bianca. I mean, I'm sure it's on the website and stuff, but we're at it, so why not? Okay, we got 15 inches in height. Okay, so 15 inches to the highest point. Now the depth of the tray, we got 7 inches. This is 7 inches, and then the body of the machine, it's a little bit less than 9, but let's just call it 9. So 9 and 7, we're at 16. And then the little tank in the back is 3.5. Okay, so what's that, 19 and a half? 19 and a half total depth. But again, you can, if you need, you can put the water tank on the side, and that'll save you some space. I think that covers all what about the width this way? Let's see. Yeah, roughly a foot. Okay, so we got about 12 inches going that way. So I think that answers as far as, so you could compare in your own kitchen. It answers a lot of questions. The height that I'm working with, the depth, the size of the machine, all of that stuff. And now you can take your own measurements in your house and see if it's gonna fit properly. All right. I have my Breville infuser out today. Okay, I haven't used it since I bought the Bianca, so it's been for months. For months it's been put away, but I have it out today because, again, to answer some of your questions, I think I'm gonna need it, and there's a few points that I wanna talk about. By the way, John, I know that you watch all the videos, and here it is, man. I told you I was gonna get this coffee, the Lavazza Crema e Gusto Classico. So it's just like a classic roast profile Italian espresso blend. And one of our viewers, John, he suggested that I try it. So here it is, buddy. I told you I had gotten it. Finally, maybe today we'll pull a shot and I'll try it in a minute. We'll open the bag with you guys. Every time you order one of these bags though, I mean, they're so big, 2.2 pounds. So it's quite a bit of coffee. So, all right, let's go back to the other counter and keep answering the questions. Okay, so I have my laptop here in front of me. I'm gonna read off the message that Cynthia sent me and keep answering the questions. So the very first thing she touched on was that, how is it that I fill the water tank? Well, there it is. And now you got all the size of everything, see if it fits in your countertop and all that good stuff. So All right, let's keep going here. Okay, so the next subject that you talk about here is about maybe finding some classes that you can join to kind of get training and kind of get your feet wet in the whole espresso making thing. So I don't think you're gonna need that. Okay, you're not gonna need that. Just get your machine, and in no time you're gonna be pulling great shots. So if you need any kind of like specific help, reach out in one of the videos. I'll get back to you and give you an answer. But really, like, I would see like maybe being fun to take some classes and some training, and you make friends that are into also the same kind of thing. So I could see that being a thing, believe me. But as far as needing to do that to kind of get going in the whole espresso thing, you're not gonna need that. You'll be pulling great shots in no time. So yeah, as far as training, I don't even know if that's available. Like you're asking if I know, and I don't know if that's a thing. If you could take classes somewhere or somebody does some kind of training, it sounds like a great idea. Like I could see coffee shops and maybe offering, a night where people can come in and do some kind of training. I could see that, but I've never seen it. I've never seen it or heard about it. So I can't give you advice on something that I just don't know about. Let's see what else. All right, the next thing you touch on here is whether, I like the idea of getting a fully automatic kind of espresso machine, and no, not at all. It's not for me. The whole manual aspect of it is what makes it fun, being able to dial in things, your water temperature and controlling the flow and all this kind of stuff. That's what makes it fun. Getting an automatic one, no. But there's more to that answer. There's more to that, and that's one of those hard ones to answer. But is it for me? No, it's not for me. Do I recommend it? No, not if you want to really like... Okay, you see, that's why I couldn't just answer really quick below in the comments. We'll get more into that, but no, it's not something that I suggest, and it's definitely not the way I would go about it. Okay, the next point is you're mentioning about like having somebody like, that that can help you set it up and go through the whole thing. Other than me, I don't think so. You mentioned that you're in Florida. I don't know, Florida's kind of big. I'm in South Florida. I'm in the Miami area. I think that would be kind of fun. Can I bring my camera and record a video? Look, I don't know. I never thought about it. Maybe there are people out there that would do that kind of thing. I don't know about it. And and another thing is, you're not gonna need it. Believe me, you're not gonna need it. If you do get the Bianca, the only thing you might need help with is putting it up on your counter because it's so heavy. But other than that, you're not gonna need it. Give yourself time and a little practice, and you'll be fine. Okay. But is there people that do that kind of thing? Like train people at home and stuff? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. Nowadays, most of these machines are not the Bianca, okay? Not the Bianca or any kind of prosumer level machine. They're not meant for you, like if something goes wrong, for you to throw it out and get another one. The Brevo infuser, yes, that's what they want you to do. If something goes wrong, throw it out, get another one, and keep going. The Bianca's made for you to do maintenance, to take it apart, to replace a part, and to do whatever it needs. You can buy it, you can do it. But most people just do it themselves. It's part of the hobby, getting in there. I mean, okay, I don't want the video to get like super long and get away from the main subject, but maybe after I answer all this stuff, we'll talk a little bit more on that. But is there people that can come and help and stuff that offer that kind of service? I don't know about it. Maybe there is, but I don't think you're gonna need it. So, and again, maybe if you're local, maybe I'll show up. Let me know. All right. Okay, the next thing you're asking about, where did I buy mine from? I got mine at Whole Latte Love. I'll give you the website here. I think they shipped it in an outstanding way. You saw my unboxing, so I didn't have any problems. And Whole Latte Love is great. They have all kinds of stuff. Remember, you're gonna need a grinder. So before even making the decision, remember you need a grinder, and a grinder that can do espresso. You can't just get any kind of coffee grinder, and it kind of doesn't work that way. Okay, you need you need the espresso grinder. In a second, we'll get more into that kind of subject. So let me see. I'm almost done. Okay, I think the last point here is that you were trying to look for it like a local vendor that you can go and get it at. And this is like where you mentioned that you're in Florida and all this stuff. But yeah, I'm also in Florida. I also looked and I couldn't find any either. Okay, so I don't think so. I don't think you're gonna find that. Not the Bianca. Almost everyone is probably gonna order it online, and that's what I ended up having to do. But I had the same kind of like intuition. I said like, man, maybe I should just look and buy it somewhere just in case something goes wrong or I have questions or whatever. I could go to them, and maybe when I need parts and things like that. But same thing that you're mentioning, I couldn't find that either. Maybe that's not even available. I don't know. And sorry if there's some noise in the background. I'm trying to speak like extra loud because they're doing some yard work, and yeah, it's a bit loud. All right, so I think that answers all of the like easy questions, and basically that answers almost everything. But here's the tricky part. The tricky part is when you talk about whether I recommend an automatic machine and what it is that I recommend and how to get started. And that's what we're gonna get into now. So let's go back to the other counter. All right, so here you see both machines, right? You see how small the Breville is in comparison. I like the way the Breville looks. A lot of people, they don't, but I like this brushed aluminum look. It matches the appliances in my house. And I think it looks great. And I paired it with the Breville Smart Grinder Pro. There's plenty of videos here on the channel where I'm using that equipment instead of this equipment, which is kind of newer. This is how I started. And there are reasons why I chose that. And this is where things get a little bit more tricky. So you are asking, should you go with some kind of full automatic thing? Well, if you want to make this into a hobby, so right there, that says no. That is not the way to go. So forget about that idea. If you just want to grab a cup of coffee and run out the door, then yes, maybe. I tell people, get a pod machine. Get a pod. Put a pod in there, press a button, and you're done. There's nothing to dial in or think about or nothing. It makes you a good enough coffee, and you're good to go, and that's it. It's nice and simple. Get a pod, put it in there, press a button, you're done. Okay, so if you want something that's gonna be a little bit more hands-on, but not like as big of a commitment and as big of an expense, then you can start the same way I did. See, when I first started, I didn't know this was gonna become a hobby. I didn't know I was gonna get so into it. And sometimes you get into something and a few weeks later it's over in a corner and you don't use it anymore and you got bored of it or whatever. So I thought maybe the espresso thing might turn out to be something like that. So let me start with something reasonable. And to me, this machine, I liked it. I thought it was fine for, I find it to be very pretty. It looks very nice on my counter. With the Breville Smart Grinder Pro, it pairs really nicely. And then I used to have a dripper machine that sat next to those those two items. And there's plenty of videos on my channel that show that. So take a look. And that was the setup I had. And then I wanted to get into pour overs, so I bought the kettle, and now I have a bunch of brewers, and I just keep going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. And that's what's gonna happen if you get into the hobby. You end up with more and more tools, more and more scales, all kinds of stuff. But hey, now you're spending money on your hobby, okay? It's not like just trying to get a cup of coffee. It's not just a cup of coffee. You get to enjoy the cup of coffee, but at the same time, you're putting money into your hobby and something that you enjoy a whole bunch. So that's the way I see it. And that's the way most people see it that get into this. But as far as the flavor itself, let's talk about the flavor itself. This is gonna be an upcoming video that I plan to make very soon, where I taste from both machines back to back and see if I can taste a difference. And I have a feeling that right now I probably will be able to taste the difference. But that's not to say that one's better than the other. I think I'm gonna like both shots because I've gotten great shots from the Brevo infuser. Great shots. And by the way, that is the Brevo infuser. I think it's the 840 and then some letters XL or something like that model, but it's the Brevo infuser. The number might change, but if it says Brevo infuser, that's what it is. And the grinder for this one is the Brevo Smart Grinder Pro. Okay, and this you know already, that is the Lelit Bianca, the version 3 is in white, and the niche 0 grinder. All right, so that's what both setups are. All right, so as I was saying, you know, the Brevo infuser makes you great shots. You can get great shots from it. It's not as flexible, okay? It's not as flexible. What are some of the differences? Okay, the Bianca has a flow control. So you can decide the flow rate, okay? You can slow it down or you can speed up your flow rate. And sometimes that's very beneficial. And if you want to pull like really long shots, and sometimes when you're dealing with light roast, that's what I really, really like. And in that sense, the Bianca's been a game changer for me because I can do a really long pre-infusion and then pull the shot another 30, 40 more seconds. So by the end of the day, I end up pulling a shot that's over a minute long. And you cannot do that on the infuser. The infuser will time out. After 1 minute, it times out, you're done. So that is one key difference. Okay, as far as water temperature, there is some small adjustment that you can make on the infuser, but not like on the Bianca. The Bianca's a lot more flexible when it comes to setting temperatures. You can set all kinds of stuff. Your pre-infusion time, the temperatures, all kinds of stuff. You can dial things in as much as you like. On the infuser, you're not gonna have as much flexibility, but that doesn't mean you can't get a great shot. You know, this is where it gets tricky, right? So you need to kind of decide, you know, if money's no object, it doesn't matter, whatever, just might as well go right up to the top and get whatever it is you want, you know. It might not be the niche 0, it might not be the Bianca, but there's plenty of machines to pick that are kind of like end game type machines. This is, you take it more like an appliance. If it breaks, you throw it out. But think about this. I've had mine for like, I don't know, 5 years, more than 5 years. And the little pressure gauge stopped working. But everything else, it still pulls a great shot, and you don't need that. In the beginning, it is a helpful tool. But you know, once you know what you're doing, you don't need that at all. You go by the timing, okay? So yeah, that's the only thing that has failed on the machine. It still works perfect the last time I used it. I mean, I have it up here because I think maybe we'll try to pull a shot in a second. Keep in mind, you need to buy some tools. You're gonna need a scale because you need to look at your ratio. You know, this is for the Brevo infuser. This is the dosing ring that fits it. This is like a tamper distribution tool that I use on it as well. But it comes with its own little tamper. Here it is. It stores away right here. It comes with some extra filter baskets and, well, you know, and a little spot to store it, right? So that's pretty ingenious. You can just push it in there. Another, you know, an advantage that Brevo has over the Bianca is that if I wanted to pull a shot right now, I'd have to turn it on and wait like 20 minutes. 20 minutes to get this thing to heat up and be ready. This, in like 15 seconds, I'm pulling a shot. So it's ready right away. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see in a second. Maybe I'll pull a shot. So do I recommend the Brevo versus... wow, you see, my mind is going like all over the place. Okay. I was talking about the money. If money's no object and you just want like an end game setup, fine. But don't let it put you off that if this breaks, you might have to throw it away. Who cares? You have to buy 7 of these by the time you buy one Bianca, okay? The Brevo infuser is only like $500. You can get that. You can get the Smart Grinder Pro that runs for $200, and for $700 you're done. Or you can get the Brevo Barista Express, which is the same machine, is the same thing, but it comes with a built-in grinder, which is the same grinder. The only difference is that the Smart Grinder Pro, the one I have, it also, you can grind coarser for filter coffee. You can do espresso and you can do filter coffee. With the Brevo Barista Express, it's roughly the same thing, but it doesn't have the same range, and you cannot grind coarse to do filter coffee. Okay, so if you get this kind of setup, you kind of have a grinder for both things. If you get the Breville Barista Express, you can do espresso all day or Americanos, but you cannot do like filter coffee. So yeah, you have to break this thing like 7 times before you're paying for just one of those. So I don't think in your lifetime you're gonna break 7 Breville infusers. So I don't see that happening. It's impossible. I'm sure anything's possible, but I don't think it's very likely to happen. I've had mine for years. It's still there, still running. Okay, I wonder if there's anything else I should cover here, or maybe, you know what? Let's do this. Let's try to set up to pull a shot, and then if I could think of something else, then we'll get into that. But comment below, okay, Cynthia, if you still need more help, comment below. We're here to help you. Guys, if you see something that I said wrong, or you want to elaborate on something, or give some other suggestion as to how to get started, or a different idea as far as a machine, leave it below in the comments. Let's try to help out. And, Cynthia, read through the comments and see what the people have to say. So there's quite a few experts here on the channel. I'm by no means an expert. I'm just some dude, but I have been doing this for a little while now. So by now I know a thing or two, but there's people here on the channel that know a heck of a lot more than me. And yeah, let me put the camera down somewhere, because now I have less room than usual. This angle's not gonna work. Let's see. This is where I usually put it to film when I'm doing the puck prep and all that. Maybe I have to move in front of the handle at least. Yeah, maybe right here. All right, let me figure this out and I'll come back with you guys in a second. We'll try to pull a shot on the Breville infuser. Imagine it doesn't want to work. Well, let's see. Let's turn it on. Man, that's reliable. That's reliability right there. It's ready to go. Let me see. As soon as this stops blinking, you're ready to pull a shot, believe it or not. So what I would recommend, if you're ever in a hurry like this, is to pull a couple of dummy shots. Just hit it a couple times, let the hot water get everything hot, and then you'll be ready. Let's see, should be almost ready. And then look, you're seeing this in real time. If I was gonna get the Bianca ready, that would take easy, like I said, like 20 minutes. All right, there you see it. There you see it, it's ready to go. Once you get all the buttons, then it's ready to go. I have plenty of tutorials or videos where I'm talking about this machine and pulling shots, and you could see how everything works and how I use it and all that stuff. But again, all the espresso machines are kind of like, if you know how to dial in on one espresso machine, you will be able to dial in on another. It might be a little different, might be, the grind size always changes no matter what, but if you know the techniques, then you know them for all the espresso machines and you can use any of them. Okay, so let me put the camera down and try to pull a shot. All right, so let's do some puck prep, and we'll try the infuser. We haven't used it for so long that, well, it turned on. Everything seems to be ready to go. All right, let me make sure you guys have a good look of the scale, and let's dose out 18 grams. All right, John, so here we go. We're gonna try this Crema Gusto Classico. I told you I have gotten it. Today we're gonna open it and try this thing out. I think this one's gonna be a little bit darker than the Rosa. It's what I'm expecting for a little bit darker roast. And right off the top, I think so. Let me see. Let me show you guys the roast level. Let me put on my glasses so I can't see anything. All right, here we go. All right, there you see it. This is quite dark. John, I don't think this is my cup of tea, man, but it will be for milk-based drinks. For milk-based drinks, for sure. To drink straight shots, definitely not for filtered. I'm not even gonna try this as filtered. But for milk-based drinks, this will probably be what I like. So I recently ran out of my dark roast. I finished all of the Good Brothers that I had on hand. And I told myself, well, it's a good moment to go ahead and try this Lavazza that John wants me to try. And I ordered it. Okay, so we are at 4 grams. We need to go to 18. Okay, we're a little bit over. Okay, nothing special about 18 grams. You can try 17, you can try 16, you can go to 20 if it fits in your, it doesn't matter. The ratio is really what matters. And you guys know that I like a 2.5 ratio, right? A 1 to 2.5 ratio. So that means for every gram of coffee is 2.5 grams of water. So usually 18 grams in, 45 grams out. That's where I've been recently. Okay, I'll find a way to store this thing in a bit, but let me just put it off to the side. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys could see there, but we're exactly at 18. And one thing we do here on this channel is always check retention. Also, grind size. When you start a new coffee, you have no idea. So you're just gonna have to go based on, other settings that have worked for other coffees. So I'm gonna go at 21. At 21, I think that will be coarse enough. Oh, that's right, because now, okay, it's not gonna be the same to dial in on the Bianca as far as the number, the grind size. It's not gonna be the same as for the Brewing Infuser. The Brewing Infuser needs a coarser grind. So, wow, I don't know, I have no clue. Let's try at 24 and see what happens. So we're at 24. Okay, 18 grams in. Let's see what we get. Got one last bean jumping around in there. Oh, you see, still in there. That's why I always start it and stop it one more time. Tap the little spout, because sometimes there'll be a little bit of grinds in there. Let's see what we got out. All right, 17.9, that's close enough. We're gonna roll with that. Okay, now I'm gonna have to hand hold this. We're gonna have to pull a couple of dummy shots like I said. Let me show you how that's done. Okay, so that's my cappuccino glass that I have from Kroof. I think these are called the Imagine. I'll flash their website here on the screen in case you guys want to take a look at these. So yeah, really nice glasses for the cappuccinos. And this is the 8-ounce size, 8 ounces. So usually it's about, roughly 2 ounces of espresso and about 5 ounces of milk, and then a nice layer of foam on top. So this is what I mean by just pulling a dummy shot. See, everything's still kind of cold. It's starting to get warm, but it'll take a good 30 minutes for everything to heat up. So if you don't have the time for it, it doesn't matter. You can turn on your machine. You saw it gets ready in just like a minute or so, and then you can pull a couple of shots. Just hit the button. Now, when I'm pulling my shots for real, I hold the button down and I do a manual shot. You can do it with either the single or the double. So again, when you're doing manual shots, it'll work something like this. Press it down and you're doing pre-infusion, and it'll let you do like 6-7 seconds, something like that. Then you let it go. You heard it there, it ramps up to full pressure, and then you press it again and it stops. And you could do that with the single or the double, it doesn't matter, but that's how you do a manual shot. And the reason why normally we like doing manual shots is because then you can control your yield, so the amount of coffee that's coming out. As soon as you hit the number you're looking for on your scale, you stop it, and hopefully you did that in around 35 seconds or so. That's gonna vary a whole bunch depending on the coffee, and mostly on the roast level of that coffee. So, all right, so let's keep going here. So now this is gonna be hot. My cup is gonna be hot. So I'm just gonna move it up here. All right, put the scale off to the side. So yeah, scales are very important in the coffee game. You can get a cheap Amazon scale and use your phone to time the shots. It's what I did for a long time, and it works just fine. You don't need to get something fancy, but I will tell you the name of the one I use in a second. So first I declump with a WDT. This is called a WDT tool, or Weiss distribution technique. And this is a cheap one from Amazon. It costs like 15 bucks or something, but it gets the job done. Again, there's comparison videos here on the channel already as to different WDT tools that I use. There's also a lot of talk on the scales, so you can look that up in the channel. But this is the Time More Black Mirror Nano, okay? It's the small coffee scale that they have for espresso. It has the automatic espresso mode that I love using. And in a second, I'll show you how that works, but we'll get into that. Okay, so the rest of the puck prep, just get your portafilter. Of course, it had some of the hot water inside of it, so dump that out, dry it. For this one, I don't have a puck screen. You know, on my Bianca, I always use the puck screen to kind of keep things tidy and clean. For the Breville, I just never bought one. I never bought one. By the time I found out about that and all that stuff, I had pulled like 100 shots, so who cares by then? And I already knew I wanted to upgrade to like an endgame type machine, and that's why I didn't do anything. Another thing you can't do is you can't do this because the Breville portafilter is a different diameter. So what we do is we use the dosing ring, right? We put it on top like this, and then we just, you know, put it in there. Well, I haven't had to do this in a while. Okay, again, not a big deal. It works just the same. Now, there's a lot of coffee on here, and we want to do some WDT, so everything is, again, I do some WDT in the portafilter. And usually I do it with this WDT tool. Well, first of all, just because I have it, but second, because it has the thin needles, and the thin needles, they do work better once you're distributing in the portafilter. So WDT, just start at the bottom, making circles, work your way up, take your time. The main thing you want to make sure is that the density of coffee is the same everywhere in the portafilter, because by now there is no clumps. You know, I had declumped it in the catch cup when I ground it. So, all right, so that takes care of that. Just tap it a couple times. Okay, and now it's in there. Okay, now here's where we use this tool. Okay, this is a cheap distribution tool from Amazon. The only problem with this is that a lot of times the tamping part of it just doesn't build enough tamping force to do the job right. So then if that happens, you're gonna have to use like the regular tamper to finish tamping. If you feel that the resistance is about right, then you could just roll with that. You don't have to use the other one. This one is more precise too for the diameter of it. So usually you can do a better job with this, but again, I don't want to have to adjust the height of this. This is the minimum height you need to build. And if the coffee is ground very finely, it won't give you any pressure at all. So you'll have to finish tamping with just a regular tamper. I'm not sure if I'm explaining all of that correctly, but we can talk about it another time. So first we do distribution, since I have it. And just spin it. It levels everything off, makes it nice. And I could already tell that I'm gonna have like too much. This is maybe too coarse. I don't think I'll even be able to tamp with this all the way until it touches metal against metal. Oh, I did. All right, so I still had a little bit of room to tamp there. So definitely I don't need to tamp with this one now because it's already hard enough, I could tell. Yeah, it's not even going down. So I don't need this one today because this was good enough. So that's the way I always did it with, well, in the beginning, you know, you learn as you go. So my technique has improved over time, but let's just say it was something similar to this, what I've always done, and it works just fine. Okay, let me switch the angle here. Okay, let's try this angle. Let's try to pull the shot like this. All right, so now we're gonna lock in. Okay, here's another thing, Cynthia, that you gotta consider. Look at how small this machine is. You know, all the room that you have to work with, right? I have tons of room on top, like probably double the amount of room as I have on the Bianca. So there's tons of room. It's way less deep, okay? It's way smaller. And to move it around, I mean, you could just move it around. I mean, you could do it with one hand lifted. So this is way lighter, way smaller, way easier to move around. So just one thing to consider. And again, I'm not trying to steer you one way or another. Obviously, I went with the Bianca because I love it, and you know, don't shy away from it. It's awesome, get it. but But there is other ways to get into this where you could have just as much fun, you could learn, and you could see if you stick with it. If you stick with it for a few years and you're, wow, I really love this, and you get more and more into it, then maybe you upgrade. All right, let's get the scale up here. Okay, so the scale, again, the Time More Black Mirror Nano, when we started, let's see if you guys could see the numbers from there. Kind of. But you can see where it says ESP, okay, that's the espresso mode. And then this little A starts flashing here. When it starts flashing, that means the scale is ready to pull the shot. Okay, then what happens is when I put the cup up here, it's gonna tear by itself, it's gonna weigh the cup, but then it goes back to 0, and now it's ready, right? So again, I press the button and hold it down to do pre-infusion. I usually like, with a dark roast like this, you don't even need to do pre-infusion, but I am gonna do a little bit because I wanna do the manual mode, and you kind of have to hold it down for at least a couple seconds. So let's just do 3-4 second pre-infusion, and we let it go. As soon as it drips in, it's gonna start weighing the shot and timing the shot. So now all you gotta do is concentrate once you hit the 45 grams to stop the machine, and that's it. Okay, we're getting there. All right, so we ended at 45.3 in 21 seconds from first drip. And we were doing pre-infusions for another, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds. So this is like a 25-second shot. This is acceptable. I could have gone a little bit longer, but being that this is a darker roast coffee, and being that the machine is set with the temperature from factory, which is kind of middle of the road. I don't know exactly in degrees how hot it comes from factory, but it's the way I've always pulled shots. I've never even played with the temperature. So let's just taste it and see what we got, but I have a feeling it's gonna be extremely acceptable. As a matter of fact, with darker roast coffees, I gotta say, maybe it's even easier for me on the Breville infuser. It just works. For lighter roasts, it's where it gets tricky, and very tricky at times. And on the Bianca, it's the other way around. With the lighter roast, it just always works. It's always awesome. With the darker roast, it gets a little bit tricky. At least for me. Listen, that's just my experience. That's just my experience. But let's taste it. Wow, this is perfect, John. You know, it's not as harsh as I expected. It's pretty smooth, very, your traditional kind of Italian profile. You get a little bit of like, a little bit of that nuttiness, a little bit of like dark chocolate kind of taste. It's perfectly fine. And with milk, this is kind of like what I like. So let's go ahead and steam some milk, and we'll do that part of it, and then we'll put our cappuccino together. All right, so now let's talk about the milk steaming. So obviously the Bianca's a dual boiler. The steam is always on tap. You just open it when the machine is ready. You just open it and you get steam. Okay, here you have to wait a little bit, and there's like an automatic cycle on the machine where it cools down so that you can pull your next shot, and kind of speeds the workflow up a bit, and that works very well. I don't know what else to say. It just works. It works fine, but it is a bit slower. Not only that, but steaming, to me, it's a little bit more challenging. On the Bianca, I always seem to get better textured milk, especially for doing latte art. Okay, as far as flavor, it's fine. You won't tell any difference. But to do latte art, for me, it's been a lot easier on the Bianca. The milk in the little jug, you fill it to like right under the spout. By the time you get up to here, there's about 7-8 ounces of milk. So I leave it a little bit below that. Again, I work with about maybe 6 ounces, and I use 5, maybe 6 ounces in my cappuccino cup. Let's see, let me show you in real time so you can see what happens here. And I hope everything's still working fine. So you turn this little dial. I'm sorry, I didn't show that, but this is here in the middle normally, right? If you go this way, you're gonna get hot water, and it comes out this little spout right here. If you go this way, then that's to steam. But it's gonna take a couple of seconds here before a little bit of water starts to purge out. That's the reason why we run it at first. And then you turn it again to the middle and quickly put it in your cup and start it again, because you only have a few seconds to do that. So it's kind of You go to the middle, you insert this in the cup, and you go. Yeah, everything's working fine. It takes a little bit longer to steam also with the infuser. That's not a minus. That's, recently Wojtek, he wrote me, said that, he likes to keep his steam pressure higher. And, the only reason why I see doing that is so that you can finish faster. And well, first of all, I'm not in a hurry. And second, Wojtek, I think that if you take your time, it gives you more time to get the milk right so you can do the latte art. I don't like to be done with this like very, very quickly because then it doesn't give me enough time to steam the milk properly and get the right texture. Okay, after that we purge it a little bit. Oh look, lack of practice. I forgot to get my little wet napkin to kind of knock that off, but be careful, this gets very hot on the infuser. It's not like the Bianca. The Bianca has a cool touch wine. All right, let's see if we can get some latte art today. Can you guys see here? Well, not much, but we'll see. I'll show you after. All right, the bottom of the tulip came all messed up, and yeah, this is not good, but let me show you. Okay, so again, latte art is not something that's easy to master, and I think I did like way too much foam. Look at how much foam is in that. I tell you one thing for sure, it's gonna be delicious. It's gonna be delicious. I usually put 1 teaspoon of sugar in my cappuccinos. And what makes the difference, you might be wondering, between a cappuccino, a latte, a cortado, and all the different drinks, the milk-based drinks. What makes the difference is only the ratio between the espresso, the milk, and the foam. So that's the only thing. Like for example, a flat white is like a latte, but very little foam on top. Okay, a cappuccino is a closer ratio between the espresso and the milk. So it's usually 2 times more milk than espresso, and then a nice big layer of foam on top. And that's usually what I go for. Let's get over to the other counter. I think this video has already gotten like super long, but we'll see how. Cynthia, this is the way it always goes with me. Let's go to the other counter and I'll enjoy this and to give you a taste test. But look, my infuser, little faithful infuser, still working just fine. I was able to steam my milk and I pulled my shot right away. So there's a lot of advantages to this little machine. And again, if you're gonna worry about like parts breaking and things like that, don't. You have to buy like 7 infusers by the time you get 1 Bianca. If money's no object whatsoever, just get the Bianca. And if you don't wanna do this like a hobby, just get a pod machine and hit a button. That's my final verdict on this whole thing. You guys jump in the comments below. Let me know, am I right, am I wrong? Let's go to the other counter and wrap things up. All right, let's taste it. It's perfect every time. If you are mainly concerned with making milk-based drinks like this, you're definitely not gonna taste the difference between the Bianca and the infuser. You're just not. I can't tell any difference in the coffee by the time you put some milk and, again, 1 teaspoon of sugar. It's just so good, so good. There's no, at that point, don't worry about it. If you wanna drink more of the straight shots, then maybe, but that's not to say that one's better than the other. Yes, there'll be a difference. But who knows? Maybe to you'll prefer the shot from the infuser because that's how it goes, The Bianca's not gonna give you like some kind of extra magical flavor, okay? It's the same thing. Man, I know people say that Breville, then they say it's not great, that, what? It's great, man. What is not great about it? You get so much for what you pay that, how do they do it? How do they? I don't know. This is insane. Anyway, I have so much foam in here that I had a lot of milk left over, so I'm gonna fill it back up. All right. Okay, so anybody that's watching this video and is kind of new to the espresso game, if you guys need any additional help, comment below. If there's something else you want me to cover, maybe we should do something like this as to like filter brewing. Maybe if you guys want to see that. Again, you know, this in the month of October, well, by now, by the time you see this video, no, it still be early October. I think this video will be up, mid-October. I think I said I was gonna put this video up on the 13th. So that's in a few days. So I have to get it edited, get it up there. So on the 13th, October will be like half done. But you guys are gonna get from me in October, there's 5 Sundays. So that's 5 videos, and I'm putting at least 2 Friday videos. So you'll get at least like 7 videos from me. Wow, I think I broke a record for me. This is just awesome, you know. If you want to make milk-based drinks, you'll be perfectly okay with the brew. If you want to drink straight shots and you want to drink a lot of light roast coffees, or you want to get into the lighter roast coffees, the Bianca will have an advantage for sure. If you were in a setting where it's high pace and you're pulling like shots for maybe in the morning for like 4 or 5 people and you're in a hurry, then the advantage again goes to the Bianca, because especially if you're doing milk drinks. Yeah, if you're not doing milk drinks, it probably wouldn't even make any difference. But if you're doing milk drinks, the Bianca again starts to edge out things because steam is on top. It's just very fast. But other than that, if you're gonna do this as a hobby and you don't care that much about that, you'll be perfectly okay with the Breville. By the way, the Breville is not the only like entry level kind of espresso machine. There are others. Some people, they just don't like Breville for some reason. So there's the Gaja makes, I think, an entry level, and there's a few brands out there that make entry level espresso machines. Maybe you guys can comment below and leave some suggestions for Cynthia. But again, as far as like getting like extra help for somebody to, you know, show you how to do this, no, just practice a little bit. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I think I covered pretty much everything. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish enjoying this, guys, and I'm gonna catch up with you guys next time. You know how I appreciate you guys a whole bunch. You guys mean a whole bunch to me, my little coffee family. Thank you guys for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys next time.